What is going on, guys? Glad to be back making another video. So if you missed my video the other day or you're new to my channel, I discussed how I had a job interview today. It was a job that I actually want. I haven't had a job since about October, and I've been applying. I've applied to around 50 to 75 jobs in the last 4 months. I've got maybe a total of 5 job opportunities. I have about 3 other jobs looming that I could potentially get. I think 2 of them, they were kind of like, yeah, you could have it, but where I live, it's the off season, it's the winter, so no one's like really busy. This job that I applied for today was probably the most serious job opportunity I've ever got. And what I mean by that is the job itself, like the benefits, the pay, like everything about it is very serious. It's a very professional job, and I actually encountered it on Facebook, believe it or not. My county had posted job opportunities. It was back actually at the end of December, like right during Christmas. Sorry if the audio is a little bugged on this video too. I'm just like kind of quickly doing this. I quickly went on there and they were like, apply here. It's going to take us like a month. Might take longer. And I was like, alright, whatever. So I had this one cooking on the back burner for a while. I really didn't think that I was going to get it. I actually messaged somebody that I know in real life that has a job like this that actually works where I applied to. I'm like, hey, I put this application in. I don't know, what the procedures are, but, I put something in. Didn't really hear nothing back from it. I actually went to 2 or 3 other interviews in the following weeks. And then I get a call on, Thursday afternoon. I was actually at the dentist. We'd like you to come in for an interview for the dispatcher position. And I got very excited. I was like, alright, whenever you need me to, I'm ready. He said, Monday, 10 a.m. I said, alright, I'm there. I'm not a very nervous interviewee. I don't know if that's even a word. I'm not very nervous at interviews. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I always go into interviews. I'm actually excited to go to the interview. I know an interview for certain people is like hell. Like, it's the worst possible thing that they can think of. Like, they hate doing interviews. I don't mind doing interviews because most of the time they just want to get their feet wet with you. They want to see how you are, how your demeanor is, how you dress. An interview is just all about how you present yourself. What you want to do is, when you go to an interview, 10 to 15 minutes early, bare minimum. You always want to go to an interview early. In fact, I was there 20 minutes early. I sat in my car. I was a little nervous. I sit there. I breathe because you start feeling that tightness in your chest. You start getting a little bit of anxiety. I like to just sit in my car, drink some water, play a little music, just relax a little bit, just positive affirmations like you got this, you're okay. So actually, when I got to the door had a lock on it, and I was like, shit. Immediately, and then I started panicking. But luckily, there was some dude actually walking in. I said, hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm here for an interview. He says, I got you, dude. You're good. Guy comes in. The interviewer guy comes in. I already knew his name. I was like, cool. All right. And immediately, he was like, holy shit, you're here early. That's awesome. We don't get that a lot. And then I was like, okay, I'm already 30 seconds into the interview. It's not even the actual dedicated interview yet. But 30 seconds, I'm already positive in the box, right? He said I got here early. I was like, alright, cool. That kind of relaxed me. Now they get me, I'm going through this building. They get me into the room. And I thought it was only going to be one guy interviewing me. It turns out it was 2 guys. And I already knew who these people were because I texted that lady about it. So-and-so is going to be interviewing you. This guy might be there too. And she told me they're going to be looking for certain demeanors. Like if you got your arms crossed, that means, you're a little uncomfortable. If you're shaking. So I subconsciously made sure not to do those things. So I'm going to say a good 75% of the interview was them just talking, kind of bouncing off me. They liked how I had a construction background because it kind of, like anybody that works in construction and you've been there for 4 to 5 years like I was, you're kind of put into that, alright, he's a little bit of a hard worker, he's been through some winters, he's been through some summers, and I'm not saying every construction worker is a hard worker. I've met plenty of guys that were lazy as shit, but when you have that under your belt, that you've been in the sun, you've been working in the winter, actions kind of speak louder than words. You could say, I'm a hard worker, I'm dedicated, all you want, but the trades, you have to be a hard worker. I worked in fencing, railing, decking, I did all that type of stuff for like 4 to 5 years. So that, on my resume, I always leave it on there. I'm never embarrassed about it. I'm never ashamed about it. You know, I was a young kid. It made me lose weight. I grew a beard. Like, I loved that job. As much as some of the aspects sucked, yeah, working out in the sun, I always liked it. And it ended up working in my favor because both of these guys were ex-construction guys. They said, oh, we worked in construction in our 20s and 30s. And anytime you're in an interview, if you can kind of personally connect with the person that's interviewing you, and you can kind of make it seem like it's not a robot interview, you can kind of dive away from the interview, if you know what I'm saying. That's a really good thing to do, because it makes it seem more real than you just sitting there, you know, hi, I'm this, I have this under my belt, I did this in college, like, you know what I'm saying? It makes it seem like you're not just reading off your resume, they're personally getting to know you. And every interview that's going well for me, that has happened. When I'm not being cocky, I'm not saying I got it, but at the end of the interview, we were all smiling, we were all joking around, we were all laughing, and this kind of environment that I'm applying for, it's a very, very serious environment. Because I could tell, like, as soon as they walked in and they realized I was a young kid, they were both like, oh shit. Like, and then I realized how they were a lot older than me. I think there was kind of like an age barrier. You know, these guys are a lot older, so we're not going to relate as much, but the construction background, I think today really worked in my favor. Sometimes it doesn't. Like, sometimes people don't want to hire a gritty person that's worked outside, cursing, yelling, screaming. I've had a couple instances myself, but sometimes it really does work in your favor, especially the hardworking community that I live in. So overall, I believe that I did pretty good. I believe I got my demeanor across, my position to them, like I'm willing to learn, I'm a hard worker, I want to learn the job, I want to do the job. So I ended up walking out of there. I kind of took a mental note at the place, just kind of was reading, looking around and stuff like that, and he had said, hey, do you know anybody that works as a job? And I mentioned that lady, and he says, oh, okay, cool, that's awesome, she's been here a while. So it's been a couple hours since the interview, probably about 2 hours, and that lady texted me and she says, hey, the supervisor said you did good. And that kind of reaffirmed to me, okay, I had a pretty good interview. With a lot of positive things that I'm saying today, there's also a couple negatives. So the most negative thing is the amount of competition. He said there's over 75 applicants. But I was the very first interview. So hopefully that stands me out. Hopefully my networking of the department itself maybe will help me. They said out of that 75, about 10 to 12 people will get hired. So a quarter of 75 is about 18 people. So a little under a quarter of the people will get hired. I'm hoping that my age, because of how young I am, they can mold me into kind of what they want. I've already proved numerous times that I can be reliable, and with my networking, I hope that that is enough. If you guys got this far into the video, I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you guys in the next video.